It's my job to take care of you when you need me. And you need me.
It's so many things, so many more things than I can possibly say. But it's really such an honor to be part of this moment. And I'm so proud to be representing my community in this way. At the same time, I'm only one person and I can't represent an entire community by myself. And so I'm so glad that there are already so many amazing disabled artists out there doing such incredible work. Ali Stroker, for instance, Ryan Haddad, Lauren Ridloff, Ryan McConnell, just doing such amazing work. And that, this will be the start of much more representation. So I'm very proud to be a part of this moment, but I hope that it's just the beginning.
I mean, nothing could feel better than doing something that's on the right side of history. You know what I mean? This is what, you know, I think Kiera mentioned, if not now, but earlier, you know, this is the first movie with a lead performer using a wheelchair in 70 years. That those numbers are not right, you know? And I feel like anytime you're a part of something that is trying to change the game to a place, as Kiera also said, of normalization, where it doesn't have to become this rare thing, but it becomes much more commonplace for people to see themselves on camera represented in a story or on film, representing their life experience. I mean, that's a very powerful thing. And the most important thing is that, you know, Anish and the filmmakers were so insistent that this be what it needed to be. And I think there was a little bit of pushback only because they wanted, you know, the assurance of having some young starlet who was, you know, going to get butts in the seats when it came time to release the movie. But I always feel like the reason people go see movies or watch television programs is when they're good. And so what you want is the person that is the most right for the role. And so I feel like that's what really happened here.
You may not understand this right now, but I am doing what I know is best for you.
My first in-person audition in LA, I had 2 self-tape auditions and then 2 in-person auditions. And my first in-person audition, when I first met Anish, that weekend was the weekend Searching was coming out in theaters. And so I went to meet with him and to audition for him, and then literally drove straight from my audition to the movie theater. And as I was coming into the movie theater, I heard this voice from across the lobby say, "Hey, I know you." And I turned around and it was Anish. He was in the lobby of the theater the day I had my first audition. He was there to do a Q&A for Searching. So there was a moment of like very, very much meant to be, a great moment of synchronicity. And I had to say to him, "I'm sorry, I can't talk to you because I gotta go see your movie." And it was beautiful and brilliant and moving. And I never knew what was coming. I cried. I think my mom did a fist pump at some point because she was so invested in this story. And it was a very surreal thing to be leaving the theater after having spent the afternoon with Anish, spent the evening watching this incredible film, and all I could think was, I have to do Run. I have to do this film.
It ultimately came down to me feeling that it was a disservice for me as a performer to have more information about what was wrong with the character I was playing than the character herself. I feel oftentimes people who are afflicted with these sorts of psychological troubles are not always aware that that's what they're doing. And I didn't want to have more, I didn't want to be well researched in a psychological affliction that Diane didn't even know she had. So it was available to me, I could have done it. But as I started to do it, I thought, this is making me feel too informed about something that I think is just got Diane by the throat, and she doesn't have a diagnosis from a doctor, and she's not in the psychological care of anyone. So I don't think she would know exactly even the consequence of what she was doing.
Let the record show that Mr. Fung is pointing to the defendant, Mr. Orenthal James Simpson.
I mean, I think one's acting process is one's process, regardless of the character you're playing. I've said before that I don't know how to simulate emotion, and I don't know how to simulate terror. I only know how to call it forward to experience it. So it's taxing and it's hard to sort of live inside, and it's hard to shake off sometimes. So I think I probably will be stepping away from some of that kind of work in the near future, just to give my soul a tiny bit of a break. That is, I'm only 3 days into shooting, so it's hard to say exactly what the experience will be like, but it is certainly the biggest swing I've ever taken in my work life, because I don't look like her, and there's a lot had to go into sort of helping to transform me, which has been very exciting and totally unnerving, because when you look in the mirror and you literally can't see yourself, or your own sibling calls you on FaceTime and it's like, what's happening right now? I sort of live for the experience of someone FaceTiming me when I'm in the full, oh my God, oh, like it's a pretty great thing. I wish I could snap a picture every time it happens, but it's different than playing Marcia Clark. Marcia Clark was a person I connected to immediately in terms of a soul connection. I had a lot of empathy for her, and I have empathy for Linda too. I have empathy for Linda being essentially an unseen person in her work environment, and maybe in her life. Certainly not with her children, who she loved very much and who loved her back, and her husband. So I don't know, it's too new for me at the moment, but I do feel always an enormous responsibility when playing a real person. I'm sensitive to the reality that there are people who love her who are still walking around. And at the same time, there's a part of the story that has to be told, and I have a responsibility not to shy away from some of the less flattering components of her personality and or her choices. So, we'll see. Talk to me in a couple months. We'll have a different conversation, maybe.